Good morning, Kelly Mara. So, in this video, I am going to talk about fear, and it's going to be around the fear of pride. And I thought it was going to go one way, which this video has been scary and uncomfortable for me to begin with, but I think it's kind of taking a little bit of turn, like God has a way of steering things. So I started thinking about Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you, for I am your God. And I think about that all the time. Like when my journey began and I knew that I was coming to Europe, he first had led me to the help site HelpX, which kind of comforted me and helped relinquish that fear, because at least there was going to be this way, even though I sold everything or gave everything away, and I did have some money to come. What I would be doing was traveling from host to host, and I would be working for them. And in exchange, I would have um, a shelter, a place to sleep, and then food. They would provide that. So, I mean, like, those are your basic needs, right? And I was cool. I'm going to learn some new stuff. I'm going to meet some people, even though I was still in that phase where um, I was alone and I was still healing, but God had prepared me. And He's like, the first part of your journey, you're going to be healing. And then I really didn't know much from there. I just knew that that was going to be it, and that He had said that I wouldn't always be alone. So off I go. I thought, okay, that's taken care of. So everything was good, and I'm going about my journey. And then, I'm healing. Everything is going exactly like He said, and not that it wasn't hard at times, because everything's hard, but I really was never in fear, because I had those basic needs met. I was learning a lot. Each host provided me with new lessons. I got to go to church in England. I learned some stuff from my next host. And then I get to Norway, and I was super excited. Um, Really, really connected with my host. Like, that was a huge thing for me. I just instantly connected to her, and she meant so much to me. And then while I was there, with the way things happened, with COVID, I got connected online to the churches that I was going to. The Bible started off with a Bible study, and then the churches. And also during this time, I was writing a lot. Like, I was journaling before I left, because the first thing God says is write. So I'm journaling before I leave. And then when I get to Norway, um, I the other person that was there ended up typing in all my handwritten notes. So I had this big list of handwritten notes, and it was like a jigsaw puzzle. And I started cutting snippets, and I was putting them together. Like, this just God had just driven me to do this. And this was the formation of my first book, which is not finished yet. That's the autobiography. But God had put this into me. And then that stalled, and I really didn't know why. Like, it was kind of a writer's block. Like, I still have these pieces, but I have these gaps, and I'm trying to fit everything together. But then He led me to this journal. So I created the journal that I talked about and that I showed you, and inspiration he gave me was phenomenal. Like, he took all these aspects of me that he has given me, that God has given me, like organization and the thought process. And honestly, the journal was derived out of my journaling and my in the order and the thought process and things that I experienced and went through. He had created through me this way of building your relationship with Christ, and I use it quite often when I talk to other people. And while doing this, God kept supplying me with more ideas. So like, I have a notebook full of ideas of things to write, and just inspirations, and it's just so phenomenal. So I'm thinking, okay, so then he calls me. God calls me and he's like, okay, you're ready to go on your next journey. You're going to go to Cyprus. And I was like, what? And I'm like, okay. So when he puts this into me, I just like, you just get, when he puts something on your heart and you listen and you hear, you just get so motivated. So I pack up and I'm getting everything ready and I think, this is cool. You know what? It's going to be all right. Because here's the thing. On this journey, I'm going to be hiking, which I took my tent, my sleeping bag, the whole thing with me because I knew at some point, for some reason, I would be hiking. And I mapped out a plan and everything was falling into place. And I happened to think, this is really cool. Like, God has given me a way now to support myself because of my writing, because I want to get the journal published. But I was leaving before that was published because there was other adversities that I had to face before I went. Again, I'm really bad at sharing everything, but I had to set up a bank account, and it took me almost a month with my mom to get all this accomplished, being here and setting up a bank account. And back in the States, it was kind of weird, and I don't know, it was just a process. But I just was relentless, and my poor mother, she was ripping her hair out, making all these phone calls and contacting them and doing everything. But I was really excited about this. But then my next fear kicked in. And because I'm thinking about getting this published, and I'm so excited, and my number one thought is like, can this help other people? But I also needed money. I was going to need money. I needed to find a way to support myself because with COVID, I could no longer do HelpX. Like, I couldn't, nobody's taking anybody in. Nobody's can offer, and which is a shame because a lot of the people who post on HelpX also do it because they need help, like on their farms, childcare, whatever the job situation is. And they really can't afford to pay someone to do it, but they can offer them shelter and food. So it's kind of a bad situation all around for both the host and for the helpers. But he's sending me on this next journey. I have a plan. I think I'm okay because I'm going to be able to support myself. And I just keep thinking about Paul and on his journey, how when he's serving others and he's setting up these churches and he's doing everything he's doing, he was a tent maker, so he was always able to support myself. So in a pride way, I'm thankful because, I mean, I guess it's pride because I can support I'm fine. I feel like I can support myself. And so that made me feel better and more comfortable about everything. So then the third thing I wrote down was I don't often share things because I fear pity from other people. That's why I haven't always shared, you know, the adversities that this whole entire journey has brought. Um, sure, I went from home to home, but each home also had adversities within them. I mean, lessons, but and in the traveling and again, it's too hard to share. I don't I don't want people to feel sorry for me or pity or anything. That's just not the point. So that part just makes it so hard to open. So I'm going on and I'm thinking about this, but then I come back and I was looking through my highlighted scriptures and I come across Proverbs 16:18. And it says, pride is the first step to destruction. Proud thoughts will lead you to defeat. So I thought, well, when I talk about this pride section, I'll add that in there. But as soon as I wrote it down in my journal to put on here, it dawned on me that pride isn't all about me being proud of this work and boasting about that, because that's one of the things I never want to become, as a prideful person in that sense. But there's another aspect of pride, and that's what brings me here now, um, and what makes me uncomfortable is that with the adversities, I thought it was cool that I was going to have a way to support myself and do all that. And one of the greatest joys is always helping other people out. And I do. So when the hostel closed down, um, the worker had invited myself and another girl to come stay. He has a 2-bedroom apartment because the flat that I was going to stay in is still not available. Um, so that worked out well, and he's a humanist, and I did a little research and it was kind of cool. He's just got a natural great heart. He's not asked anything of me or any expectations, just an invitation, knowing that I'm waiting on this information to go. So, but I've been here for quite some time, and one of the things that I've had to do, so I thought, okay, well, I'll get, when I first got here, I thought, okay, well, I'll, wait and get my meds shipped here. My friend has my medication, which I haven't taken for 4 months now, and it's for thyroid hormone replacement. But it was so expensive to ship to Norway, I thought, well, I'll have it shipped to Cyprus. I don't have an address. So this friend of where I'm staying gave me the address. And then I thought, well, I need my computer to finish publishing, to try to get this journal published. So I thought I had all this stuff going, and it's just gonna work out. I mean, I've not questioned God's plan or lost faith in any of that. And I've never asked him, God just knows what your needs are. And he's always provided, if I need food, if I need shelter. The fact that, when I came to Cyprus, I didn't know what I was going to do. And then my host calls me up and she's like, oh my gosh, I have a flat in Cyprus. You can stay there. And I'm like, well, that's a huge relief. I didn't say anything. He just, that door just opened. She's like, well, there's no water or electric. But I'm like, I don't even care about that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll clean and organize that, and I'll just pay for my food because I had funds. And I looked up Cyprus and it's not very expensive and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, everything was just falling into place. So I came here. But then I get here and I'm still waiting to hear about the flat. And this friend that was working at the hostel when the hostel closed, that was part of his supplement income to help him because he has a business and, he was just, it was kind of slow or whatever was going on, or he's waiting for people to pay him. So, I mean, I didn't, so he lost that income basically. Um, so God nudged me and he's like, hey, give him some money. This person never asked me for anything. And I'm just like, hey, I'm like, because I knew he had a business. I'm like, hey, do you have like PayPal account or an account that I can like pay you through your business? I want to give you some money. He's like, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, well, God's kind of telling me that I do. And at this point, he just learns to listen to me. So he really just doesn't argue. So I send him some money. And then a week or two later, I mean, it's getting close to his rent time, and I overhear him with his best friend, and he's like, hey, it looks like I'm probably, I'm going to be short this month. And he's like, a couple hundred, and, kind of asks for help. And I guess it's, that's what they do. They just help each other back and forth. So I wasn't trying to eavesdrop or anything, but I overheard this. So after his friend left, I'm like, hey, I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard that there's a situation and, I don't have that much, but I do have some, and I'm willing to help out in any other way because, besides giving me a place to stay, he's going to be hosting my website. He's been helping me with some online stuff and some really great things. I mean, he just has been so helpful. And in return, like, I clean and I do all, whatever. But anyways, so I'm going to help him out. Well, God works in amazing ways. Because the reason I even had that money was because part of that money was because when I got here, I was posting some stuff about Cyprus, and a button came up that says, do you want to add a donate button? And I'm like, no, like, that's ridiculous. Why do I want to do that? But like, God just kept pushing the issue. So I did. And at first, of course, I didn't have much written and I donated it to myself. And then I got this weird reaction, which made me feel kind of weird. But I think ultimately in that story was because God had a plan. And I was able to share some of that money to help him. And others went to local like the local farmers and stuff. And to an independent, like a little bit of it went to a store that had just opened, and she was trying to make ends meet. I didn't know this when I went into the store. I just needed something and went in there. So God ultimately had a plan for that. So thank you for everybody who donated to that. That was greatly appreciated. But so back to Pride. So with that, like, I don't usually talk about like how I help other people out. Like, you don't do that. Like, you do things because it's joyful, and it is joyful. But the thing that's getting me stuck right now is just recently, I think the other part to Pride is when you personally need help. And I really couldn't understand a friend who had a problems with prayer, and she's like, well, I'm not going to ask for anything from God for myself. Doesn't he just know this? And I kind of never understood that until I thought, you know what, you're right. I never pray for like things that I need, like water and shelter and stuff like that, because God has always just provided it. Like, those are needs that He knows. But I'm stuck right now. I can't seem to get my laptop here or my meds. And my friend, she has my laptop and she has my medication. And that took a lot of time from her to go fill the prescription and pick it up. And then she's been holding on to it all this time, waiting for this address. Well, she finally, and I didn't want to press the issue because I know she's a single mom and she's got work, and now with the homeschooling, the whole thing. But it's like, my funds are depleting and I can't, and it's getting scary because I really needed that computer to, like, and it's not that anything's on the computer that I need, because everything has been done in there, it's in files. But I need a way, I guess I need a computer, because you have to do the editing, you have to do all of that. I can't just do that from my phone. And the meds, for obvious reasons, I have been without them for 4 months, and they're a thyroid replacement. Well, she made it to UPS because my friend that I'm staying with here right now, that they're going to be shipped to his address, is like, you have to send it UPS. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So she goes to UPS, and it's ridiculous. Like, it's crazy how much it costs. I think it's nearly $400 to ship the computer. And I don't think they go by weight, because they were measuring it, and she sent me the receipts. He let her keep the receipts. I didn't have it sent. There's no way, because the plan was I was going to PayPal her the money to send this. And the meds were like $200 and some dollars. And this is a little pill bottle, but I mean, she had it in the original bag. She never opened it. So then they measured that whole bag too. And I just told her, I'm like, I can't. And the whole thing started because I'm like, hey, before I run out of money, can you get this stuff? Because I've been waiting on the computer for 3 weeks, and I plan on getting here right away, getting this book, published, and try to generate an income. But it takes, like, even if I get it published, it takes 60 days for them to put money in your account. So, this is just, it's really hard to even talk about this because it's a pride thing. So anyways, I emailed someone, and it was a hard email to write. And I'm like, you know what? This is my situation. This person has my computer. And I just went over what I just told you now. And I'm like, honestly, I just need help at this point. So I hadn't heard from any of these emails, and I thought, I don't understand. Like the first couple emails are about making connections. Like, I didn't bring anything of that up. But this is going on, and I'm still not getting a resolution from it. And I honestly just don't know what to do. So it turns out that this person says, hey, if you send me an email, can you send me a message? Because I don't always check that email. But he offered up some solutions, and see, pride and pity. Like, I don't want people to feel pity for me. And I'm too, I was too prideful to make things happen, because I just thought everything was going to be okay. But, anyways, he suggested this place because he knows that I write and that I have all these works in the process, and I'm really trying hard to make my own living. God sends me to a country that I can't even get a work permit in, which is fine. So, Anyways, he suggested Patreon, which is cool because what it is it's people, creative people who create works. It's a way for them, for supporters to help support them while they're creating their works. And in return, you get something. And you'll get like exclusive updates. Like I would share with you excerpts of my writings, or I also do photography, so I'm trying to figure out how the photography comes into play because I was trying to sell that as well, and that came from another Christian. So instead of just like, I just, can you help me out? I thought, well, so I've been praying on it a couple days because even that felt kind of weird. But I think it's a kind of like, I mean, there ends up being thousands of people that does that. It helps people to continue to create, and people who support them and believe in them to encourage that. So like even $5 a month, if I get enough supporters, that will help, because once I get the shelter, I won't need to pay for that. I just need to pay for food. Yes, I still need to figure out how to get my meds here. And he suggested maybe that ultimately it'd be cheaper for me just to replace my computer. And it might be, but I mean, I guess, again, I'm going to pray and just let God help me with that because I don't know what to do. But so at least maybe this would be a way that if anybody feels it in their heart that they want to help me continue what I'm doing here, which is the evangelism, trying to build an international Christian community, the journal that I need to get published, finding a way to get my meds here, to get my computer, replaced or shipped here, because I still need maybe someone to check on shipping at USPS, or I think it's DHL, which is a German company, something like that, because she just doesn't have time to do it. So those are a couple options. The other one is like, if somebody wants to make like a one-time donation, they can instant message me through Facebook Instant Messenger or WhatsApp with my phone number. If you don't have it, I can give it to you. And then you can send it through my PayPal account. And I hate to have to ask for any of that. Like, it's a pride thing. I'm so excited that God has supported me. And I thank everybody for their kind words along this whole journey. And I know that God has a plan, and I have 100% faith in him every step of the way. Like, he's always done everything. And I honestly, I hate being so stuck right now. But I feel like he led me to this pride thing, and he's like, your Christian community is there. Like, you constantly reach out and help other people, but we all need help sometimes ourselves, and we got to know when to say when, and I guess to ask for the help. And it's uncomfortable. It's actually kind of horrible to have to be in that position, but that's where I am. So I'm sorry this video is so long. I hope that you listen to the end. And only if, you can continue to please watch the videos, hit share, hit like if you like it. If you don't, then don't hit like. Or if there's something that you want to hear, leave me a comment. But if you choose to help out through like Patreon, and as soon as I get that link, I'll post it. I'm just trying to set it up where in exchange I'll share with you like excerpts from my book, or I'm trying to set something up possibly to send
the PDF of my journal or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure how all this works. But, or the one-time donation, and I can send you the link for my PayPal and how to get that money to me. Or if you want a video chat with me, I've got WhatsApp and I can give you my phone number. And actually, on my page, Works Inspired in Faith, Works Inspired in Faith is a page on Facebook now. It actually has a link to WhatsApp that you can call me. You can do it that way as well. So, thank you, everybody. I love you. I will continue these videos. There's more aspect of pride than I even realized. There's, being prideful over, hey, look at, I created this. And there's being so prideful that you won't reach out and ask for help when you're in need. So, God bless you. Keeping God close. Have a great day. Bye-bye.